Hello YouTube viewers and random Harry Potter fans. From a very young age I was obsessed with books. I'd read all the time. Kids would be out playing football and I'd be sitting near the pitch with my nose in a book. If there was one author that really grabbed my attention at a young age, it was Roald Dahl. I particularly loved The Twits, S.A.O. Trott and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. In fact, as a treat for doing well in school, every other Friday my mum or dad used to buy me a new book, which was most of the time written by Dahl. I was always so excited to even get back to the car just so I could start reading. There were a few occasions where I'd even start reading the first few pages as we walked towards the checkout to buy the book in the first place. One day my parents bought me this, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. It had just been released, and an announcement had been made that the first book was to become a movie the following year. And try as I might, I just couldn't get into it. I later, of course, realised that this was book 4 in the series, so therefore I was starting in the middle, so no wonder I couldn't follow it. A few months later, my parents were visiting some friends of theirs who had just bought a house together, and so, naturally, everything was everywhere. I used their bathroom, and on the way back downstairs, I stumbled upon this one room which looked like a library after an earthquake. Just books everywhere. And sitting on top of a bookcase next to the door was a copy of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. I knew this was the first book in the series, so I picked it up and gave it a try. And I couldn't put it down. I was instantly hooked by the end of the first page. Over the years, my appreciation for the series grew and grew, and I eventually bought my own copy of each book. I'd often prop myself up in bed with my reading light every night and enjoy a few chapters, imagining what this wonderful world looked like and how it would feel to be standing on a Hogwarts staircase as it moved around, or to be lost within the shadowy world of the Forbidden Forest. Of course, one thing I wanted was a wand, but unfortunately Harry Potter merchandise was very hard to come by back then, so I went out into my back garden and broke a twig from a tree and used it. I always thought the wands in the books were these neatly shaped devices, much like a drumstick, so for a while I used one of those. These days, it's very easy to find Harry Potter merchandise, although I remarkably have very little of it, so of course you can find wands left, right and centre. But if there's one company which has created some excellent looking wands, it is without a doubt the Noble Collection. So today I'll be reviewing this, which is the Elder Wand, and here it is in its box. But we'll talk about that a little later on, so let's open it up and take a look at the wand itself. Now, there isn't much to say about these wands, as they're basically a stick of resin, but they make up for it with some exquisite detail. The Elder Wand is certainly very visually interesting, what with these various nodes which run along its length. They each contain many little recesses which I've been told are meant to represent the imprint of elderberries, which is a very clever idea. The paint apps on the top half of the wand look really great with the darker and lighter brown shading really making it look like wood, while the sculpting aids to this look as well. The bottom section of the wand features a darker shading of paint apps, plus those recesses cover the entirety of it, giving it a handle or grip-like quality. You can also see this small white section which contains some black runes, which is a great little touch. It feels quite heavy too, not too heavy to hold, but you can feel a certain weight to it, so overall for detail it looks excellent and feels very authentic. The boxes for these wands are really great as well. Keeping in style with those seen in Ollivander's shop in the movies, they're long rectangular constructs. The Elder Wand's box features a purple lid, which is very plain but offers these strange symbols on both ends. Sliding this up reveals these two strips of purple fabric which contain flared ends, and removing those uncovers this fantastic housing for the wand, made from foam covered in soft velvet. The wand slots into this part in the middle, which holds it securely and prevents it from any damage. I love this box. It's a great way to display the wand, which looks very classy and certainly feels part of the Harry Potter world. I also have another Noble Collection wand. Unsurprisingly, I picked up Harry's version as well. It is much shorter than the Elder Wand, but features a cracking amount of detail. The top part contains that sleek and smooth wood effect, while the lower handle looks much rougher, as though it's made from the bark of a tree branch. The box is very similar too, only this time it has a brown cover with some brown material underneath it, and a red velvet housing. There's not really much I can say about these wands in the end. They're very basic, albeit with a superb amount of detail, and make for awesome static display pieces or an integral part of a wizard cosplay. I do wish they had done something though. I would have particularly loved for their tips to light up via a very small LED to recreate the Lumos spell. I know a few of the toys have done that over the years, but they're quite chunky as a result of fitting in all the electronic components inside. But it doesn't matter that they don't do anything. I still really love these wands, and it's definitely another thing that I would give to my younger self in a heartbeat, for little me to occasionally swish and flick as I read the latest adventure of the boy who lived. A lot of people have asked my thoughts on the movies, and yeah, I think they're good. Naturally, a 2.5-hour movie isn't going to encapsulate all of the elements of the book it's based on, so a lot of stuff ends up being cut out or rewritten, so ultimately, I view these movies as kind of extended trailers for the books. Basically, if you liked what you saw on the big screen, there's so much more to discover in the novel. Reading was such a big part of my childhood, and I actively encourage every child these days to put down their tablets or phones and pick up a book, or a Kindle, and as it did wonders for both my imagination and creativity. And I would certainly recommend starting off with either the works of Roald Dahl or J.K. Rowling. And in particular, if you're a fan of the Harry Potter movies but you haven't read the books, there is such a bigger world waiting out there for you to discover. And so that does it for this video, and finishes off my look back at some of the franchises I loved as a child. I really hope you liked it. If you did and you're new to my channel, please hit subscribe for more videos, and keep up to date with all my latest news and reviews by liking my Facebook page and following me on Twitter. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.